3 big reasons we don't watch porn. What's up everyone? My name is Jessica Johnson and today I have brought on a special guest, my husband.
Hi.
That's him. If you haven't met my husband, he's a pretty great guy. And I wanted to bring him on here because we believe this is a really important topic and I always appreciate what my husband has to say about it.
First and foremost, this is not a video about how we defeated pornography or how we don't struggle with pornography at all or anything like that. It's not bragging about like, look how great we are. What this is, these are reasons that we remind ourselves when we struggle with temptation, because the temptations are there. There's temptations all around us. They don't just go away, but these are the way that we remind our soul of what's true so that we can fight these things.
Also, I personally know a lot of people who are in relationships, who are married, where porn is seriously ravaging their lives. To the point, I know some wives who straight up go, you know what? I already know he's watching it. I'd rather not even know. So with that said, here are the top 3 reasons we don't watch porn.
The first reason that we don't look at pornography is that we both have a pretty big rebellious streak. We don't like being told what to do. Pornography, what it does is it tells the viewer that this is good, or that this is what they should be interested in, or that this is what their spouse is gonna want them to do, or this is what they should be into. Regardless of it cares, the video cares nothing about your own feelings. It cares nothing about your spouse or you. It's telling you what you should desire and what your spouse probably wants. And you have no way to combat that when you're just allowing this video to tell you that. And when it comes to pornography specifically, we give it permission. When we watch it and we're consuming it, we give it permission to tell us what to like and how to think. And I don't like that. I don't wanna go to a restaurant that I don't think is good food. I don't wanna watch a TV show that everyone else is into that I just don't think is that great. I wanna be the one who's in control and deciding for my life, not some external circumstance that I'm not giving permission to.
And I think a good example of that, when I really think about like beauty standards and things like that, it's like, who says that this body type is beautiful? Who says that, like, but for some reason, because of pornography, suddenly something you might have actually not been attracted to before, you suddenly are. And so it can actually make, you know, especially women in particular, feel like we don't meet a certain standard. And I'm not saying those women aren't beautiful, because they are, but I just know that they gave me an image that I'm supposed to live up to, and I don't need to live up to that.
To continue on that, is that it shows us an image of what sex should look like between a man and a woman, and it's bypassed the part of our relationship. All it did is show us a static image, an impression of what it should look like, that now I'm going to just superimpose upon my relationship because I saw it. But we're supposed to derive our sex life from our relationship to one another and with God. And so when I allow a third party to superimpose its own views on the situation, it's not going to be honoring to either of us because it's not birthed in our relationship. For that reason, we're rebels, and we're not going to let some video made by somebody we don't know tell us how to have sex. The second reason that we don't watch porn, and this is actually, if you got nothing else from this video, this is the main point. We approach it sometimes as, we look at these things on the internet and we're like, wow, that looks fun, but I'm a Christian, and so we don't watch that sort of stuff. We don't do that sort of stuff, but that sure looks fun, but I'm not gonna do it because I love Jesus. So it sounds like that'd be a good thing. It sounds like that'd be a holy and righteous thing to abstain from all these fun worldly things because of Jesus. But that's stupid. That's like eating dinner out of the trash. Eating just 2-week-old nasty whatever out of the trash can, and then telling God, okay, I'll stop eating out of the trash can for you. God would be like, don't eat out of the trash can for you, not for me. And it's the same thing when it comes to our sex life. It's not a good, fun thing. That's a lie. That is the lie of the enemy. There's momentarily deceptions that might masquerade as fun and excitement, but the Bible says that all those roads lead to death. That those things that the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy. That all those manipulations, all those lying, flashy things are meant to take and destroy and kill me and my relationship with my wife.
Because if you're believing that lie of, oh, well, I'm giving it up for God, and you know, how it is, and it's a terrible way to look at it because that won't sustain you, that is gonna burn you out. If you're secretly believing that something else is actually better, you're gonna end up over there.
And that is why most people, pornography gets put on the back shelf. It never gets thrown away.
Yeah.
It just gets, you just put it aside for the next time you need to go to it. You're like, all right, I'm quitting porn again. And you just kind of put it on the shelf. And it's like, well, why didn't you just throw it away? It's like, well, because in 2 weeks, I'm going to end up needing to pick it back off the shelf. So I don't want to throw it completely away.
So the solution is actually, you know, you have to believe sex God's way is actually better, because it is. And when you think about any addiction at all, the way somebody normally becomes free of an addiction is because they're accepting something better. They're saying yes to something better.
Until you believe that a life without alcoholism is better than a life in alcoholism, you're never gonna make that jump to being free. You know, the biggest thing here is that actually recognizing, like Jessica said, that one thing is better, but the other is that like, just like eating out of the trash can, you're eating poison. When you're consuming that thing, you're introducing a poison into your system. You're introducing a poison into your relationship. And then you wonder why having sex God's way isn't working out. It's like, well, you're poisoning it the entire time with all this extra stuff, and then judging and acting like God's way is the problem. And the last point, the third point, that why we don't watch pornography is Proverbs 6:27. It says that, can a man hold fire to his chest and not be burned? For some reason, the way we live our lives, like we read that, we ask ourselves that question, can a man hold fire to his chest and not be burned? And when it regards to sex, we all say, yep, like we can do that. We all think that we can do that. We all think it's just a little bit of pictures, or it's just a little bit of flirting at work, or whatever it is. It's just a website. And we think that we can get by unscathed. We think that we can hold that fire to the chest and it's not gonna burn us. And the day you wake up and realize that verse says that, young man, this is foolishness. If you think you can do this, you're a fool. And the Bible does not talk about being a fool in a good sense. A man cannot hold fire to his chest without being burned. And the reality is that this is way too important, way too valuable to risk holding fire to the chest and hoping that this thing doesn't get burned.
And to add to that, it's not just about the pornography. You think you're just watching a video, you think you're just looking at an image, you think these things, but it's not just pornography, it's a pathway. And what you see time and time and time again, it starts with an image, and then it goes to a video. Then suddenly, that video isn't enough to do it for you. You need something more. You need something more aggressive. You need something darker. You need, like, it just kind of, there's a progression that takes place.
Yeah, and I think, you know, and our pastor says all the time that sin will take you farther than you want to go and take more from you than you ever wanted to give. And it's an idol. It gives a false promise. It tempts you with this fulfillment of sexual desire, that this is what it's going to give you. And everyone who's ever watched pornography will always attest that it did not deliver. Nobody has ever watched pornography and was like, wow, that was everything I hoped and dreamed and it was. It always lets you down. And so at the end of the day, every single time you do that, you're dripping poison into a system, and it doesn't even give you what you want. It doesn't take away the distraction, the pain. It doesn't cause the distractions you're hoping for. It never delivers on what it promises. So in recap, our 3 reasons are, the first one is we're rebels. We don't let anybody tell us what to like or how to have sex. Number 2 is we look like idiots eating dinner out of a trash can when we watch pornography, when God's got us an entire refrigerator full of delicious food for us to enjoy as a married couple. And number 3 is that we believe the verse that says, can a man hold fire to his chest and not be burned? And even though we are idiots all the time and we're tempted by things and we grab a hold of fire and we think this won't burn me and we end up getting burned, we want to be people who are not fools. And we read the wisdom that's in the Bible and say, you know what, this is far too valuable to risk dripping poison or grabbing a hold of that fire of pornography and pulling it to our chest and hoping that we don't get burned.
Well, anyways, that was a lot, and if you've made it this far, thank you so much for sticking around. I hope this video has been helpful to you. And if you like this kind of content, please go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe. Bye!